Hey super friends, my name is Neil and I am here with a quick film review for Universal Pictures' The 355. This film is written and directed by Simon Kingberg and stars Jessica Chastain, Lupita Nyong'o, Penélope Cruz, Diane Kruger and Bingbing Fan. The film also stars Sebastian Stan and hits UK cinemas from today, Friday the 7th of January. Had to check the calendar over there. So I got to see this film earlier in the week thanks to Universal Pictures, and you can check out my full review over on our website, which is www.getyourcomiccon.co.uk. Spoiler alert, I gave this film 3 stars. Before we get down to it, remember to click subscribe, and if you like this video, then you can hit the thumbs up just below and hit that bell thingy. That means that you'll get notified whenever we release new content on our new YouTube channel, because we are starting again from scratch after the Christmas holidays. So the 355. This is a espionage story which centres on a group of female spies from across the globe who come together to fight an apocalyptic threat. The second trailer does give away a little bit of what's going to happen in terms of one of the major twists that's in the film, so if you haven't seen the trailers for it, I do recommend that you stay away from those for the time being if you want to go into this movie unspoiled and ready to deal with all the twists and turns as they happen. The cast in this film is outstanding. Jessica Chastain is incredibly committed to the role as Mace, who is kind of our de facto lead. It's worth noting that she is also a producer on this film and that she did supposedly mastermind the idea for it along with Simon Kingberg while they were working on X-Men Dark Phoenix back in 2017. You also have Penélope Cruz, who brings in her kind of expertise as a therapist. Diane Kruger's character is a demolitions expert, as they call them. Lupita Nyong'o, who is one of the MI6 operatives, so she's part of the British kind of bit of this cast, brings in the technical expertise, and so they all tie together in their own kind of special ways. I won't say too much about Fan Bingbing's character because she's kind of a spoiler element within the story. So they all work together really well, and there is good charisma between the cast. And actually what Kingberg's script does is it doesn't focus too heavily on the fact that they are women. So if you look at, and I realise I am a white male who is explaining this, but if you go back to, say, the Ghostbusters movie from 2016, that focused quite heavily on the fact that they were female, and like to point that out to the audience, which is something that the 355 doesn't do. Instead, it simply accepts the fact that its lead characters are female, and yes, the villain is a male. They are a group of people and they are led by male, and most of the kind of the goons that they will come up against are male, but that is not something which is focused on within the script. It's very matter of fact. This isn't a film that is going to ram kind of gender politics in your face as you go along, which is very, very nice to see. It's simply accepting of its characters as who they are. It does make a bit more of a point of it in the final act, or kind of right at the very, very end, but it's a necessary point in the story as where we are at that point in the film. The story itself does not break any new ground per se. That's not to say that it isn't worth watching. It's a very, very entertaining 2 hours and 2 minutes of kind of espionage action. I called it in my verdict an intriguing slice of cinema espionage, and that is very, very true. I think the problem is that it doesn't necessarily have a huge hook to draw you in, so it's the kind of film that you're probably only going to go into if you are incredibly interested in the cast, or somebody within the cast has kind of caught your eye that you would like to see what they're doing here. But there are still great mysteries throughout. It doesn't spend a great deal of time, particularly in its first act, explaining to you what's going on. I had to work to understand who everyone was and who they were working for. So in terms of spelling out, who is CIA, who is MI6, who's from the Colombian agency, yes, it will become clear due to their kind of nationalities, but in terms of knowing what side they're on and who they're truly working for, it's all very much left up to you to understand and to follow what's going on with the story. And in that respect, it's not your kind of generic exposition-heavy film, which is really, really nice, and I welcome that, and it was good to watch. Where it kind of lets you down is the fact that there is one very obvious twist. There is something which happens early in the film, which ends up happening off-screen, which obviously circles back around later on, and you will know what's going on the minute that you see it. But that is a small kind of issue with what is overall a very entertaining film. I do have one weird quibble, which I did pick up on in my written review, which is that it looks as though Bingbing Fan has filmed her scenes separately to the rest of the cast. So often when she appears, you will see 2 or 3 main cast stood next to each other in a kind of wider shot, and then it will cut to her in a close-up. And she'll be surrounded by maybe 1 or 2 extras or people who are filmed at very odd angles, so you can't really tell who they are, so that it doesn't matter if it's not somebody who you've seen from another angle of the same scene. Or she will, in a wide shot, cross across a scene with her back to the camera so that you don't necessarily see her face. And it certainly seems that she maybe wasn't present for all of the filming. Now, obviously, she has had some well-documented legal issues at home in China, so those tied up around the time that this film was in production, so it could be that that affected when she was able to be free for shooting, but it's not badly done. This isn't a situation where you look and think, oh, well, she was just slotted in here from somewhere else. You look and think something is just the tiniest fraction incorrect or slightly off angle. It might be that she's talking to someone and the eye line is not quite correct, and it just, to somebody who would pick up on that kind of issue, it kind of drags you out of those moments in the film, because it's there and it's slightly obvious once you've spotted it. You have a score from Tom Holkenborg, otherwise known as Junkie XL, who of course worked on Zack Snyder's Justice League, which is really, really interesting to listen to. And so altogether as a product, it's a very interesting 2 hours and 2 minutes, as I said, to spend in the cinema if you are willing to take the time to go into a film like this. It's worth noting that in a kind of era where everything is a franchise, or everything is building to something, or everything is signposting you to a TV spin-off or comic book or computer game or something else, this is very much a classic cinema piece of standalone storytelling. It does not necessarily end in a way that says this is what's going to happen in a sequel. It's not signposting anything else. It simply is what it is, and that's how it should be enjoyed. So the 355, as I said, is in cinemas from today, which is January the 7th, 2022. You can read my full 3-star review of this over on the website, which is www.getyourcomiccon.co.uk, and check back here soon to our YouTube channel for more of reviews. Until next time, bye! Thanks for watching, Super Friends. If you enjoyed this video, then make sure to hit the subscribe button just down below and hit the bell so that you can get notified whenever we release brand new videos. In fact, there's 2 more waiting for you to watch right here below. So what are you waiting for? Why not click play?